Tremor.
Three Tremors.
Tremor, directed by Ron Underwood. Starring Kevin Bacon.
My name's James.
Fred Ward. Reba McEntire. And Michael Gross.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tremor Talk. I am your host, Luke Newman. With me as always is Pete Dryden.
Hello.
And my lovely, beautiful wife, Marika.
Hi.
Today, for the DSLR stuff, I just wanted to talk about ADR. And if you don't know what ADR is, it's the concept is that you go back later after you're done filming and you re-record the dialogue and then there's also something called Foley, which is where you go back and re-record all the sound effects. So like feet walking and, rustling of clothes or anything like that.
Dogs barking.
Yeah.
Kittens mewing.
Yes.
Mewing?
I think mewing's a word, right?
Yeah.
Kittens mew. They mew. Cats meow and kittens mew.
Huh.
Anyways, we've dabbled with it before. We did, probably it was more like 75-25 as far as there was some actual on-set audio for the McCormick brothers. But a lot of that was done later. And then this latest Batman episode number 2, basically every single thing you hear was added in post-production.
Yeah.
Every sound effect, every line of dialogue, with the exception of, I think, our scene at the table where Gordon and Batman are talking and Gordon's laying down the law. A couple of the lines we recorded, we actually took the time to set up the microphone and all that. But my experience with ADR and the McCormick brothers was a lot better than this for some reason. This was just a total chore because it wasn't just the...
This was a lot of continuous talking, though.
Yeah, it was like whereas McCormick Brothers, there was time for music and stuff like this.
There was breaks.
ADR, the hard thing about it is recreating the camera angle. So like you wouldn't want to you want to match your mic angle with your camera angle when you're doing ADR. So you don't want to just set a mic in front of your actor and say, okay, try and redo this line. You want to try and like point the mic where the camera was pointing in the shot. So if it's like a side profile shot, you want to have them turn to the side when they're doing their dialogue. Even with all that sort of thought going into it, it just bugged me. When you go and you watch, some of your favorite movies, that's what's going on. If you take the time to stop and think like, okay, I'm going to start looking for ADR.
You start noticing it, that's for sure.
You'll notice it a lot. Like I'm trying to remember what movie we were watching, Marika and I. It was that romantic comedy with Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep.
Something's got to give.
Yeah,
Yes.
Something's got to give. It just caught me at one point. I'm like, oh, ADR. Like, I must have been something bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started paying attention to it, and that movie was kind of bad. I mean, not bad, but I noticed it. It was like, wow.
You mean as far as ADR?
Yeah, it was like... you'd hear Alec Baldwin say something, and the way he said it was like, that's not how he was acting. Like
His mannerisms.
Right, his mannerism in the shot was more like mellow, but he was like, said it really like aggressively. And,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where if you paid attention to most movies, you'd see ADR. And so I've been going back and forth as far as what to do, what's the best way to do audio. Do you try and get it good on set? Because that's hard too.
Well, what would be the ultimate thing?
Well, the ultimate, I would say, is trying to capture as much as you can on set.
Mm-hmm.
And taking the time to set up a mic in a nice place. And if you can't get it, cinematography first. If you want to have a wide angle shot and you can't fit the mic in there, do ADR for that shot and get your wide angle.
Right.
Do cinematography first, and then your second option, try and get the best audio that you can on set.
Right.
And leave ADR, try to put it at a minimum because it's a chore. Like the Batman episode, the reason we decided to do every sound effect and all the dialogue later was that we rent out the suit and we only have it for so long. And when I'm in the suit, I can't move. I can't
Fingers
really
are too fat.
Yeah, I can't really do anything. And so when it's like a scene with Pete and I, we only have the suit for so long. Marika's really the only one that's not acting most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just too much work to set up the dialogue or the audio when we're trying to move through the story and get all the filming done in one rental of the suit. And so I think the first night we got the suit, we filmed the dialogue scene at the table.
Yeah.
And we set up the mics for that one.
Right.
And it took a good while to get that scene done. And at that point, we're like, well, we only got the suit for one more day. We gotta just go.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just scrap audio and we'll just do it later. I would suggest trying it once. If you haven't tried it, it's worth a try. You learn a lot from it. With audio on set, you cannot remove that background noise. So you're stuck with, all right, there's this car driving by at this point, or there's this going by at this point. So
airplane or something.
there's certain times where you just have to go back and get dialogue later, unless you're not a perfectionist. I mean, unless you just don't care. You obviously don't have to. But, you know, if a car drives by or if there's just little background noises that are changing here and there, like that just bugs me.
Well, and the other thing, too, is like when we've done it before, when we've recorded the sound on location, when we don't even notice it, but then later on, when we get back and you're looking over the footage, like there's a siren or something in the background that's just annoying.
That changes, or you just like, I don't want that in the scene.
Right, but you didn't even hear it really when you were on the set.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even think about it, but then later on, it's like,
yeah,
that is kind of like irritating.
So, distracting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think that's just my way of doing it going forward is get as much as we can on set, and we did do that with the scene at the table with Batman and Gordon. With a Hollywood movie, it's like I understand why they go back and do ADR because they want complete control over audio. They really want like that studio sound. But sometimes it comes off as a little fake. And somebody like Chris Nolan, I know, does not do ADR.
Mm-hmm.
He gets everything
wow.
on set. And I mean, he has really good sound engineers. Like he has sound engineers that can take a shot or an audio clip that was on top of a skyscraper that has airplanes going over, and they can go in and pull out the sound of the airplane and just leave in the sounds of like the guy on the roof. So he has like the best sound engineers in Hollywood. So obviously we don't have that as indie filmmakers. So unless you know how to do that, then just go ahead and contact us and then
Yeah.
work on Batman for free. I mean,
you know.
I don't know. So that's all I got for DSLR for today. And we can go ahead and go to Marika for the Entertainment Weekly Roundup.
The first thing that I noticed this week was David Schwimmer, also known as Ross, from the hit TV show Friends. He has recently been set to play a serial killer in Ariel Roman's thriller, The Iceman.
Oh, wait a minute. The Hitman?
The Iceman.
The Iceman.
I know, but about the Hitman?
Oh, yeah. I think I read that his character or something.
So
Yeah, he worked for the mob,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a hitman, and they called him the Iceman.
that's not a serial killer.
Well, it says.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why he killed a lot of people, but it was hits.
Yeah, they call him a serial killer, I guess, in the description. So
I guess technically, but
it's just like.
But it wasn't criteria as a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
David Schwimmer, huh?
I don't know. Yeah, it was like.
I can't. That must not be, because the guy that I'm thinking of, David Schwimmer, does not.
But David Schwimmer, I mean,
He hasn't done much.
good as Ross, but
Yeah.
I think he does better behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
He's directed a few movies, and they're like, yeah, those are okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather see his name on credits when he's just a part of making something than starring in something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's too hard to take serious. That's with any sitcom, major sitcom star. It's hard to take him seriously. After you see somebody in a role for that long, you can't help but think of them as
that character.
That character. Like it has happened with every major sitcom.
Yeah.
Seinfeld, Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry doesn't have to do anything.
Jerry's just Jerry.
Yeah, he can go back to stand up whenever he wants, and he's kind of a entrepreneur of sorts. He's kind of a business guy. So Jason Alexander, though, forget about it. He can't do it. Like you see him and you're like, George.
Yeah.
I saw him on what was his show? I think it was like Criminal Minds or something, and he's playing like a bad guy, and it was just like I can't because he has long white hair.
Oh my god!
But it's just the whole thing is like, okay, for one,
You're Jason Alexander.
yeah,
Oh
like
my
you're
gosh.
George, and you're trying to portray this like bad guy
Ugh.
that's like a manipulative mastermind type character. and
Not
it's
good.
like, it's
though.
not. It's not
And
happening.
and it doesn't even matter if he's good. Like
Mhm.
if he, like that was good performance. It's like no, but
No, it's fat little George.
you're George, and that's you can continue that on to Friends. What what Friends star has gone on, and you can't say Jennifer Aniston because
She's still Rachel to me.
well
Really?
she hasn't really. I don't know.
She never plays anything different. Like she never
Right.
has any depth in her roles
Mm-mm.
Right,
ever.
and that's because she's not a good actress.
No.
Yeah.
And so, like she's probably like the most successful post-Friends star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean obviously
Yeah.
money-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like acting is concerned, like like I haven't even seen Chandler. Matthew
Yeah,
Perry. Like,
yeah.
he's not in anything.
He was
Yeah.
in what was it?
He's been in a couple like movies that are like, all right, but
The only other thing I know him in is that other one with Chris Farley,
yeah.
What was that
Almost
one?
Heroes.
Almost Heroes, and I
Yeah.
don't even know if I've seen that whole
Well,
thing.
see, and he was in. I haven't seen him in anything recently, I guess,
No.
but I remember
Mhm.
him like the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, but that was when he was doing
Yeah.
Friends.
Mm-hmm.
That was like
Was it?
yeah.
Hmm.
That was when Friends was going on. Almost.
Oh, wait a
Heroes.
minute. Now I remember. He's in a lot of movies that are like PG.
Yeah.
Like he's
Oh.
a teacher.
Not a lot. He's been like one. Like
I don't
17
know.
again or something with Zac
Oh,
Efron.
that's
That
right.
one,
was-
but then there's one where he plays like a teacher.
No, that was
like
a TV
high school
movie.
teacher.
That was a TV movie made for
Oh.
TV.
Still.
Oh my god.
That is, but see, it's like, what are you doing
Yeah,
made for
what's
TV
this all
movies?
about?
The whole 9 yards was good too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That to me is like, why don't you do more? Like, everybody likes you as Chandler, and the whole 9 yards proved that you can do Chandler in a movie setting and be successful.
Right.
Because I liked the whole 9 yards. It was like,
Right.
I don't care if he's Chandler, because I thought Chandler was funny, and I want to see him
Mhm.
interacting with Bruce Willis or Chris Farley,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
He was good in Almost Heroes.
oh man, I don't care what anybody says. That's my favorite Chris Farley movie.
Yeah.
We should watch that.
Because everybody likes Tommy Boy, and it's like yeah,
I like him in Dirty Work.
yeah,
I
and
think
that,
that's-
and
that's classic.
Here's the funny thing:
I
is
remember
my,
this one time.
my argument for Almost Heroes is like, yeah, Tommy Boy's good, but that's when he was like sane. He was like with it and together. And this sounds bad to say, but he was hilarious when he went off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. He was just crazy.
Yeah.
Like Almost Heroes, all he did was scream, sweat,
Mm-hmm.
Sweat.
always aggressive, and it was like the funniest thing to watch. And the funny thing that you like Dirty Work is like that was made after Almost Heroes was, since that was when he was even worse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I wish he would have been the star of that movie.
Yeah. Oh man, that movie to me is one of those movies. Dirty Work is one of those movies that's like, it never got enough credit, but to
Mhm.
me that is a hilarious movie, and it's got a bunch of actors.
Norm
in it.
Macdonald,
Artie Lang, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is super funny in it.
He's a doctor.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while.
that's a good one.
So, anyways, I think we can sum it up by saying we don't think David Schwimmer will be good as a serial killer,
No.
judging by TV stars and their post-hit TV show careers.
Right.
Exactly. Which brings me to my next actor, Steve Carell.
He's the same way.
Yeah, he just signed on to star as a pet store owner and a local kids soccer ref in Lunatics.
Oh my.
And yeah, the movie
This does not sound good.
No, it's based on a novel about two feuding soccer dads, and their consequences leave them running for their lives. So it just sounds like another typical Steve Carell role.
Has anybody seen Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell? Exact
Yes.
same plot.
But this is. I think Kicking and Screaming is pretty funny.
It
When
is.
Will Ferrell,
He's
it's one of the more underrated Will Ferrell
Yeah,
roles. When
yeah.
he gets addicted to coffee,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
he is.
Yes.
It's only for like 20 minutes where he's
Oh.
hilarious, but those 20 minutes are like
It's hilarious.
It's the best Will Ferrell because he's beating up little kids and he's just going crazy
Yeah.
and screaming. No, I
So
agree.
funny.
But Steve Carell, he's the same way. Like Michael Scott, probably one of the
Mhm.
all-time best TV characters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And his movie work, nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Not in comparison.
no, but it's just the same thing of like a Jennifer Aniston. He just can't.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you're Dan in real life and you're serious and stuff, but no, like you can't escape it. The one that always hurts me, like on Tremor Talk, we've discussed a little bit actors that have sort of fallen off.
Val Kilmer.
Yes, as in Val Kilmer. The one that just I don't get what happened is Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Well, now what do you mean? Because he's I mean, he's still popular. He still has.
Yeah, but look, like when was the last time he made anything funny?
Well, not in. But this is the thing, though, is his formula is used. He's ran out on, like, everybody knows the formula that he uses, where it's like, physical comedy, facial expressions, where he's not a stand-up comedian.
No.
It's not like he's witty or anything, where it's like, oh, he's just funny.
Yeah.
It's always physical comedy, and like you
Facial
said before,
expressions. He used to rely on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I just is nobody writing those characters anymore? Did nobody pitch him Dumb and Dumber 2 as soon as Dumb and Dumber was done? Why did it take him 15 years to sign on to Dumb and Dumber 2?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He just wanted to do different stuff. I don't know, but the thing with Jim Carrey is like he was always better as a crazy character in a normal situation, and then around Liar Liar.
Which is, to me, like, that's the last movie where it's like, that's a pretty funny movie.
But that was the starting point
Right.
of when he started doing a normal character in a bizarre situation. A guy that has to tell the truth. Then it was like Bruce Almighty, a guy who gets God's powers, but he's basically a normal guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then, Yes Man, a normal guy that has to say yes.
Right.
Which is basically the opposite of
Yeah.
Liar Liar. And then, Dick and Jane, normal guy that loses his job and starts robbing. And it's
Cool.
and here's the other thing is
No.
look at some of his other roles that weren't as popular as like a Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura, but that were weird characters since that time. Grinch is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a kid's movie and it's a holiday movie, but his performance in it is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And he should have stuck with that route a little more of like burying himself even under makeup to just get into roles like he did with Lemony Snicket's, because that was a really good character.
You know what I think, too, though, is like maybe a guy like Jim Carrey needs to start working with certain directors.
Yeah.
He just takes scripts that are like, well, yeah, I mean, I could see Jim Carrey in Yes Man.
Mm-hmm.
But if he was like with Grinch, where it's like, well, that's Ron Howard.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty hard to be in a Ron Howard movie and not have it. Yeah, it's a good movie. But for the most part, like, you don't look at Jim Carrey as you would like with DiCaprio, where it's like he's always working with good directors.
Right.
So all of his movies are good.
I've read another Jim Carrey movie that I really like, Eternal Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite of his.
Right.
And it's like,
He doesn't do anything.
well, what do you mean?
Comedy. I'm talking from comedy. It's like that's like the least funny role he's ever had.
Mm.
But it's great. Like
It has its moments.
yeah,
There's that, what's that, Lucky, or Number 23 or whatever?
Yeah,
never saw it.
That one's at the Truman Show. Is another
That's
one.
a good one.
Yeah.
See, he has a few that are like, yeah, like, to me, Eternal Sunshine and Spotless Mind,
Mm-hmm.
Truman Show, those two are like, those are pretty good movies.
Truman Show, the story
Mm-hmm.
is amazing.
But this is the other thing, is anybody could have played his role.
That's true. And Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah,
Somebody better could have played his role.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. Is like I'm just critiquing Jim Carrey from a comedy standpoint.
I agree. But getting back to Steve Carell, ever since he left The Office, it's just kind of been going downhill.
Yeah.
It's,
Let me take that a step further.
okay.
Here we go.
Ever since creator, showrunner, writer Michael Schur I don't even know that's how you pronounce his name, left the show, it's been going downhill. Because Steve Carell, I think he had something to do with the show. I don't know quite what. I think maybe
He's probably produced
or something. But there's two guys behind it. One is Toby, and then the other one is in the show as Mose, Dwight's cousin. But those two were like the main creative forces behind the show. I don't know exactly what season it was, but Michael Schur left to go start Parks and Rec, which is now one of my favorite shows on TV, and it's obviously the strongest on the Thursday night NBC lineup, which is usually where the most popular comedy TV shows are.
Yeah.
Right.
So he leaves, and I think Parks and Rec is in season 4 now, so that would put it at like season 4 or 5 when Michael Schur left. And that's right at the point where The Office started to lose it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't see it as a coincidence that one of the main creative forces behind The Office leaves, and it starts to not be as good, and he starts up what is now probably the best show on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
So I attribute that more to Steve Carell, because The Office had sucked for 2 seasons before Steve Carell left. That's why Steve Carell left, is because there's nothing left in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
How many episodes can you realistically tell about a group of people that stay in a room all the time and work in an office?
Yeah.
I mean, you need a really strong, you need great writers, and I'm sure they have great writers, but I compare it to Seinfeld when Larry David left.
Right.
And
what season
Speaking
was
of
that?
Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's one of my favorite shows.
I've heard this season is amazing.
I haven't watched any of it.
I've heard it's like, because I listen and I read a lot of Bill Simmons. He's a sports / pop culture writer, and he always compares pop culture to sports, and he was like,
Right.
he's like, Larry David's pitching the perfect game or something. Just like hit this season of Curb Your Enthusiasm is just like off the charts funny. Every episode is great. 10 out of 10. It makes me want to watch it. But yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm is like, you can see if you watch an episode of Curb what he brought to Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
And so then knowing that, when you go back and you watch Seinfeld once he left,
Right.
you see that like Jerry needed that
Yeah, that element.
element, Larry David's element, to make Seinfeld what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think they only went one more season after he left, maybe 2.
Yeah.
I thought that they went I thought Larry David left at like the 3rd or 4th season.
No, it was like 2 seasons. I think it was 2 seasons that they continued on. And if you watch those 2 seasons, it's like you can just tell the episodes get really bizarre, and
they're just not as original.
No.
Or witty or anything like that. I'm a big fan of Curb, but I haven't really watched recent seasons of The Office, so I'm not really sure on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not missing much.
That's basically all I have for the Entertainment Weekly Roundup.
Good job.
Thank you.
Bad, dude.
I'm not a dude, but that's okay.
Bad.
All right. And I just wanted to recommend, if you haven't watched it yet, you should watch the Snow White and the Huntsman trailer, starring Kristen Stewart, Chris Hemsworth, and Charlize Theron, directed by Theron.
I think so.
Charlize Theron. Excuse me. Directed by Rupert Sanders.
Who is Rupert Sanders?
The director?
Who, do you know him?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
The thing about the trailer is like, I should hate it.
Why?
Well, it's got the girl from Twilight, and
You really don't like her, huh?
she...
I do.
I like her more than the 2 guys in Twilight. Like, those 2 guys are the worst actors I have ever seen on a screen.
Taylor
TV,
Lautner, Robert
movies, Us, anything. They are the worst 2 actors I've ever seen.
Good.
School plays,
Well, now, hold on
YouTube,
a
anywhere.
sec.
They are horrible.
What about Harry Potter? Robert Pattinson was pretty good in Harry Potter, and you even admitted that.
He didn't have to do
bro.
anything. He was in it for
I
like
thought-
5 scenes.
Oh, I thought you liked him, so I was.
No, I liked it. His character was like, yeah, he's not in it much, so there's not much to hate. I was like, yeah, this is
Luke,
fine.
you just like hating people.
No, but they're acting like not. I mean, the main guy.
Oh, Taylor Lautner.
No,
Oh,
the main guy, Edward.
Edward.
He's not horrible. He's like, okay, whatever. Like you're pretty blah, but
Well, yeah, he's
you're not
blah.
a horrible actor. The other guy,
Oh my god.
when he's on camera, I laugh every time because he's
Yeah.
like a cheesy.
Oh.
Like soap opera.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
Like soap opera. That's
oh
what
my,
it is.
Yeah.
oh my god, you're horrible. And that movie he was in this summer, like the action one.
Oh gosh.
He was like the star of this action one, and like even in the trailer, it's bad when in the trailer you can't even pull some good clips.
Yeah.
Even in the trailer when it's like, we gotta run. It's like the worst acting you've ever seen. It's like, well, if that's the best shot you have of him and you put it in
Yeah.
the trailer, I pretty much get the gist of
Right.
what his performance is like. The fact that that other girl from Twilight's in it makes me not want to watch it. So,
Makes me want to watch it.
well, you're gonna go see Breaking Dawn. So.
I am. I'm going to see Breaking Dawn on Sunday.
Can't believe
I'm
you're
quite
waiting
excited.
2 days.
I know. I'm really
Like you
really,
could be sitting there right now
Yeah,
watching.
you could go tonight.
No,
couldn't
it's
you?
not till midnight. So
Well,
you
That's
know,
tonight.
I really would love.
Do you want to go
that.
see it? We can all three go see it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we'll go. Pete, will you go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Oh
I'm
my
always down for a
I
movie.
better talk to Hannah because
You don't need to talk to Hannah.
Don't
You know
even
why?
tell Hannah.
Because Hannah always goes and sees. What about Harry Potter 7 Part 2?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Just get her back.
We wanted her to wait, and she did not wait.
Or,
and she
but
went
there's
and
my
saw it.
mom too. My mom, you know.
You don't have to tell anybody.
What?
It's
Not gonna
our
be
little
like,
secret.
Wait, okay, yeah, we'll just delete this out of the podcast. Not that anybody in our family will listen to the podcast.
Probably not.
So we're good.
We're going to see it tonight.
We're going to see Twilight, except
you,
I'm not going to watch it.
do you know what
Why not?
though?
I don't want. I cannot.
Come on, you got to just watch it.
dude.
Here's the thing,
It's 2 hours of your life.
You have to
It's-
watch Harry Potter.
right?
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Let's just have a Harry Potter marathon at night, and then we'll have a Twilight marathon night. Just watch. all
No,
the Harry
I
Potters and all
can't do
Twilights.
that. I
Why?
can't do that.
Why?
You can.
I could watch one of the Twilight movies every once in a while. I could watch all 4 of
We'll
them,
stretch it out then.
but I just couldn't.
She
I
said.
could. I just couldn't do. I couldn't do like a. All right, we're gonna sit here and watch all of them.
No way.
Or with Harry Potter.
No, I
Not
couldn't
even
do that
with
either.
Lord of the Rings.
I could
Okay.
do. I could watch one every
It's a lot of cigarettes.
One-
2
how
to
about-
3 days.
Yeah, like one a week or 2 a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's just do that. Let's just start.
Or none alive.
Start a marathon. Let's start with
Well,
Harry
we just
Potter.
don't need to watch any of them.
I'm down. I'm down with not watching any ever.
All right.
I did watch the Riff Tracks.
What is that?
It's the guys who did Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Ooh.
What you do is you download it on your iPod,
Mm-hmm.
and then you sync it up. Like they say, okay, start the movie in 3, 2, 1, and you start the movie, and then they talk. So it's like they make fun of it, you know,
gosh,
and
it's so
it's
funny.
pretty funny. Like I was able to get through the first Twilight because of it, because they make fun of things that, like, some of it they're getting old, the guys,
Mm-hmm.
and so they make some remarks that are like, yeah, that's like
What?
what my dad would say. But some of it, it's like, that's good. Like they make fun of the
It's
acting.
the Mystery Science Theater guys.
It's the same guys.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they
That's a
do it.
great
They do
show.
it for like movies now, like current
That's
movies.
good.
You got to look it up.
Oh, what's it called?
Riff Tracks.
Well, that's it for me.
Okay, very good job.
Thank
Bravo.
I've been playing Red Dead Redemption
Very good game.
and Batman Arkham City.
Hmm. And which is better?
They're both too different.
Yeah.
They're two different games where it's like Batman is just, you're in it and you're just going along and there's not too much story.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going around beating people up and
Nice.
trying to solve little, problems of Arkham City.
Mm-hmm.
And Red Dead Redemption, I'm an outlaw, right? So
Oh.
it's not really. Either I'm in jail and I'm trying to get bounty hunters, or whatever it's called,
Uh-huh.
or I'm hanging out with Bonnie.
Yeah.
So
That's the worst part of the game too. So you're basically stuck in the most boring portion of the game, and you have been since I last talked to you about it, which
Mhm.
was 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't okay, you got to tell the story of what happened with the game with your.
Oh, well, what happened was I'm playing the game, and I'm at this point where I'm supposed to lasso a horse. So I'm just thinking, like, okay, this is boring, but I'll do it so I can move on.
Mm-hmm.
So I lasso the horse. That takes me a little bit longer than I expected. But I move on. and then I have to ride with Bonnie and like her dad or something further out into the desert, and it ends up that we have to meet up with these other like cowboy ranchers, and while we're meeting up, one of the horses just runs off, and so they're like, go chase the horse and lasso him and catch him. So I'm like, okay, so I kind of start running. Well, the horse gets away, so I fail the mission, and accidentally I press skip, like instead of retry mission, skip mission.
Right.
So when I do that, it takes me all the way back, like an hour worth that I've been sitting there playing this game to get through all this boring stuff. It takes me all the way back, so I have to redo it again. Which basically just put me in a spot of like, I don't want to do this again. So I tried a couple of times and just lost interest. Well, anyway.
You just didn't play the game at that point.
Yeah, I just was like, screw it. I don't care. I'll go back to Batman. My brother's stepson comes over, and he's 8. And I look at the situation, and I'm like, hey, you want to play Red Dead Redemption? Yeah, I'd love to. All right, here you go, buddy. Why don't you just start where I left off?
The most boring.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's cool, huh? All right, here you go, buddy.
Oh, my.
Go lasso these horses.
Yeah, so he starts playing, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I leave.
And you called me. You're like, dude, guess what? I got this little guy playing the game for me. He's gonna beat the most boring parts. I'll be good to go.
Yeah, and then I thought that I was gonna be ready to go. Well, I left. When I come back, I see that it's like, oh, well, he's fighting guys, and like I haven't seen this part of the game, so he must have got past all the boring parts. So I'm like, thanks, dude. And he's like, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I know, dude. All right, see you later. So he leaves.
You're thinking, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got all excited.
Got that little guy to do some work for me. And
right. And he just furthered me along in my gameplay. Well, I start playing, and I realize, wait a minute. I'm all the way back at that original point again. I have to go lasso the horses again.
And didn't he just not do anything?
He didn't do anything. He just became an outlaw and went around killing people. So he just made it worse for me. So now I had to start all over.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And if I'm not doing exactly what the mission says for me to do, then I have to raise money so that I'm not in jail.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because you're an outlaw because of what he did. You should really call him up and just give him a little verbal abuse. And I mean, Andrew would probably not have a problem with it.
No. Just got to learn someday.
And then, have him come back over and be like, you know what, you got to fix this.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care if it takes you 2 hours. You fix it. You just put him.
You fix it. You sit here.
You watch him. I'd watch him if I were you. Just stand there.
Just staring and eating.
Do not shoot that guy. No. Lasso the horse. Well, today was a fun day for us. We went up to Mary's Peak, which is this mountain just outside of where we live, and it was snowing very heavily. And we did some location scouting, but at the same time, we took our 5D up, and we got this new Nikkor 80-200 lens. And it's this really good, high-quality lens that was made in like the 70s or something. And the images, just going through them tonight, looking at the messing around with color correction and stuff like that, the images are amazing that this lens gets. And we got it for $200 off eBay with the mount that's like $60. So that's $260 for an incredible zoom lens, 80-200 millimeter.
It's amazing.
It is good. It's very good.
I mean, the film look that it produces.
Yeah. People will see. They'll see it.
Yeah, that's the thing is you'll see for yourself. Well, we're going to be posting the video within a day or so. It might even be out by the time the podcast is released. So if you head on over to our YouTube page, DOD 3032, you'll be able to see that. But
for video-wise, I think it's a great lens.
With lenses, the telephoto zoom lens options are not very good for a good price. Like, we have the 55-250 Canon, and I hate that lens.
Yeah, not good.
Especially when you compare it to this one.
Oh.
Yes.
You can see it right away where it's like, the 55-250 would not.
Yeah.
No.
Like, it wouldn't give this off. It wouldn't give off this look.
No. To really start getting into a nice lens, nice zoom lens, to get into that category, you have to spend over $1,000. And so this one, the Nikon 80-200, gets you a pretty nice zoom lens for super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all we have. Anybody else have anything to say in closing? Twilight.
Breaking Dawn.
Thank you for listening to Tremor Talk. I hope you come back for the next episode.